So I want to talk about Milli Vanilli today. I've watched two interesting, when I say interesting, these interviews, I don't know how I missed them. Vlad TV, I'm sure you've heard of Vlad, popular podcaster. And then also I saw the interview he has Patrick Bet David. Now both those interviews were a little different. They both had different angles because make no mistake, these podcasters have angles when they're talking. And as a Gen Xer, we didn't have everything accessible at the touch of a button. We couldn't pick up one of these and just Google something, search something. It was much harder to do research on people. It was much harder to get the facts on your favorite singers, songwriters, artists. It was not as easy. So whatever was presented to us by the mainstream news was what we accepted as fact. Many people, unless you were in the music industry or unless you're a person that has stepped foot into a record studio, you really don't know what is the process of making an album, making something go viral. Back then, the viral would be selling millions of records, 13, 20 million records. You didn't have the ability to understand that process unless you lived it. We grew up in a generation where the only way we really had music, guys, was on our radio. Unless you bought the album, that was how you heard your favorite songs. You couldn't just go on the internet and go find your favorite song on YouTube and create a playlist. That's just not how it worked. You had to wait for that song to come on the radio, and if you were smart, you would get a cassette player, and you would record your song and save it. And it would still not be top-notch quality because it's on a cassette. You know, you're gonna have that drag, that sound of the cassette. It's just not top quality. And Gen Xers will tell you when you bought an album, it was because you genuinely love the artist. So you would have CDs and then your CDs would skip and scratch and you would need to replace it. So these people, the music industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry. They make so much money. The kind of artists they're plucking from, the world, you've got to be someone sellable. They want to see a pretty face. They want to see the handsome guy. They want to see the dancers. They want to see people who can move, command an audience to stop what they're doing and pay attention to them. When Milli Vanilli stepped on the scene, it was one of those things that was like, wow, where did these guys come from? And all you got to do is look at these guys, right? Both of these guys had a look, a distinct look. They look like male models. In fact, in the Vlad interview, which one's alive? Fab is alive. He's the darker skinned one. Fab Morvan is alive. He did not pass away at 33 like his brethren, his colleague. I guess you can say just his best friend in a lot of ways, because in all the interviews, all he kept talking about was how close they were and how their relationship was that of like a brother, right? He was like Rob's younger brother. So Rob passes away, right? But Fab Morvan is still continuing with music and he's alive to this day. And now with all of the things going on with Netflix and that, Menendez brothers thing, their songs are #1 again. So it's interesting because music never dies. When they say music never dies, they really mean it. I mean, I can listen to songs from the 60s. Their legacy will always live on through the songs that they gave us. But what I want to talk about today is about the appearance and the fakeness and the illusion of Hollywood, the grand illusion. It's almost like the Wizard of Oz, right? This illusion that we're living in and thinking that these people are as talented as they are, when really it boils down to looks. So since they're the only people recorded, Rob and Fab, right, from Milli Vanilli, to have to give back a Grammy, in the interview, Fab says,
it's a business. It's ran by very powerful people, by gatekeepers. Money is the fuel to the engine, of course. So people do the math. When you do the math, you realize, all right. We were like, out of the links, we're the smallest link. The smallest.
They all knew what was going on. You go to a concert it's not just the singer appearing on stage. You've got grip, you've got lighting, you've got makeup, you've got backup dancers, you've got production people that do the whole production to make sure everything goes off without a hitch, and that the microphones. There's so many moving parts of entertainment, and especially entertainers that have to sing on stage, that there's no freaking way someone was back there and was like, aren't we going to turn their mic on? Like, what are we doing? Are they not going to sing again? Like, people knew. The music industry tells you, zip it, because the music industry, and little do people understand this, is run by a bunch of mobsters. It's run by the mob. It's an actual mafia business. It's people that are very serious about their money and getting money out of their products. And if their products doesn't sell, like in most instances, a celebrity is worth more dead than they are alive. It's an illusion. So the reason why I want to mention this is because today you see people on social media apps and all they do is lip sync. People right now making millions on copying people, not really creating any music. They're not writing their own songs. They're not producing anything. They are just the face. You get it? And so back to what I was talking about with my cousin, in the studio, he would produce music as well. And one of the things that I've learned really quickly is that they can make anybody sound good, including myself, right? And I'm pretty sure my song is still on the internet of him and I literally, it's embarrassing. I would never share it with anyone. But I could tell my voice was dubbed over like 2-3 times in order for it to sound good. There's backup singers and other people coming in and doing all the runs with the song. And it's like, that's not me, but why did you put me? Oh, because you're a look. You're a look. Unfair, because you got a lot of talented people, like the real singers of Milli Vanilli, that because they don't look the part, they can't be the frontman. And this is just my belief, is that a lot of your favorite celebrities, a lot of your favorite stars are the ones that are getting these awards, as Fab Morvan says here. A lot of them are faking it. I don't think they're really as talented as they are. I think their voice is dubbed over several times. And the real artists, the ones that really can sing, I'm talking, I just recently seen, I think it was Alicia Keys. When she belted out that on TV, you could tell that was her singing a cappella without any kind of anything, instruments or anything to back her. And she sounded great. So every time I see the artists that are new, and they are really, a superstar, meaning they have everything, the looks, the voice, the talent, and the performance. They're triple threat. As Patrick Bet-David was mentioning to Fab in his interview, he said, maybe you guys were just a double threat. You weren't a triple threat because you really didn't have the voice, but you had the stage presence and you had the look. So he gave them some credit. And that's what I want to say, and I want to make clear, is if I was to ever meet Fab Morvan, I would give him the biggest hug, tell him it's okay. No one is holding you accountable. We know that the industry is a money-making business. We understand that now today. Back then, no one really saw it that way. They just saw it as, look at these fraudsters, look at these clowns, look at, they, like he said in his interview, they were made fun of. They were the butt of the joke. They were people picked on. People went as Halloween costumes as them. I mean, it was on and on. It was so embarrassing what they did, because looking back at it now, I would think anybody who was in the music industry knows that their voice isn't perfect and that they have to have production people come in and smooth out all the little kinks so everything sounds crystal clear on that record. There are people that are born talented, the Whitney Houstons, the Celine Dion's, and not all of the time do they sell. I remember many people saying Barbra Streisand, if she really didn't have that killer voice, there's no way she would sell anything, because, she's just not a very attractive woman, at least not too many. What matters to you nowadays, the looks or the talent? Because I would beg to say, even for me, I look at people today and I say, what is true art? What is true talent? There are people on the internet right now, like I said, making loads of money on TikTok, just voiceovers, taking their voice and making money off of it. I think it boils down to what is the draw of certain people? But now, today, when I watch new characters cropping up, like Sabrina Carpenter, when I didn't even know who this little girl was, but I have a 20-year-old daughter, and that's Sabrina Carpenter, and I'm thinking, I don't get it. Like, for me, I think as I gotten older, I realized, no, I don't care about the look. I would rather have somebody be a truly talented singer and just be like carried away with their voice. If you're a young person, you're drawn to this. Ask yourself that. Would you have bought Milli Vanilli album? Would you, Girl, You Know It's True, Baby Don't Forget My Number, Blame It on the Rain, I'm Gonna Miss You, which is the hit song right now from Milli Vanilli? Would you have listened to any of those if it was that guy, if it was him? One thing I learned from watching this celebrity interview, Boney M was a fraud too. There's many others in the 90s that were frauds. The industry has a cycle of doing this. And you see Fab Morvan in the interview with Patrick Bet-David, and the thing he says there in that interview is when he was asked, is this something that was a common practice? Is this something that the industry did? And Fab, he almost didn't want to answer that question. He said, well, it's been going on, but I'll circle back to that later. He knows if he reveals the fact that that shit is still occurring today. 2024, not necessarily full-on lip syncing, but people having their voice manipulated and changed. It's not far-fetched. And I don't know too many people that have a voice that's so pristine and clean, other than like the people I mentioned, Barbra Streisands of the world. And this is what Fab Morvan has been doing. He's worked so tirelessly on building his craft. He said he's always loved music. It was his saving grace. Music is what saved him from all of this ridicule, all of this put down. And he went back to music, and he's doing things now and touring and enjoying his life, and got clean from all of the drug use and everything that they were doing. Because when you're given this lifestyle, drugs comes with that, partying comes with that. And there's a vicious cycle in the entertainment industry to allow these people, give them the tools, the money to continue down this path of self-destruction. Money has always been the root of what people want. These two guys were poor. They didn't have a lot. They were struggling models. Fab said, we didn't have much. So somebody's dangling a carrot over your head telling you, we're going to pay you a good amount of money. You're going to not be poor. You can order all the room service you want. You could party all night long. You could sit at the best VIP tables. You'll get into all the best hot spots. And you're a 20-year-old. You're going to do it. Takeaway that I've learned from people who are in the industry. I lived in Hollywood. I call this the land of crazy. People that have to live in Hollywood and they're trying to make it in the industry, they're crazy. You have to have some level of crazy, some level of delusion, some level of narcissism that people think you can make it there. I'm a good person. No, I'm not saying they're not good people there. I'm saying that they're people that have to have some semblance of this. I gotta make it. I've got to make it. I don't care which way, how I do it. I've got to make it. They'll do anything. They'll sell their soul if they have to. And usually at the end, it doesn't feel good for them. I think truly what happens with the fame and fortune is most of them end up with one thing in the end. They end up with the fame, infamous or famous, to have the fame. All these celebrities, whether they're washed up or not, if somebody mentions a name of somebody from the 90s, whether or not they had a one-hit wonder, they don't have music anymore, they're not doing as much music, going to fall at some point because it's not sustainable to be doing that forever. Most of them do it for the fame. They don't do it for the money, because look at Fab now. Fab says, no, I get no royalties. I get nothing. Imagine your song is going viral right now in 2024 and you're not getting any of those royalties. And even celebrities that go on TV, or have really big shows or music careers will tell you the royalty checks are not a lot. And the people that really control the industry, these people are all about money for themselves. And guess what? They get to live a life of anonymity. The guy going to the golf club and never know, because they don't have any sort of mainstream media eyes on them, except for the ones that are the face of the industry. We're talking Clive Davises and the Berry Gordys and all the guys that really are the face of the music industry, but truly they're only a surface of what the industry really is. There's supposed to be some biopic, or I don't know if it's a biopic or a movie. There's going to be something out soon, or it's already out. I'm going to have to go look for it. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be revealing a lot of things that we already know as true. So I don't care. I really don't care. I think we're far beyond that, and we all know that everything about this Hollywood is fake and just built on greed, lies, and corruption. Have a great day.